Alrighty, so we are recording our session 2 of the Empowered Feminine, and my name is Elena Mosaner. I am a hypnotherapist and coach. I'm excited to be hosting this. We're going to talk about triggers and the part of our brain called the amygdala. The amygdala is an interesting part of our brain that is like a smoke detector. So if something happens in the environment, it can trigger that smoke detector, and the amygdala will immediately release a cascade of chemicals which are responsible to help us either run away or fight something unpleasant. And of course, we're talking about the adrenaline, we're talking about cortisol, right? Those stress hormones. What's interesting about triggers is that they can happen for a few different reasons. One is there may be the underlying old story in your mind. The story of could be not being good enough, or being less than, or not enough, or some undercurrent. And I look at it as an undercurrent of murky water. Like if you're being triggered, it all comes out, floods, and becomes the story. He's doing this to me, or she's doing this. They think I'm that, and it just the story becomes, comes on the forward, right? Forefront. So, and we begin to believe that. And so as we believe that, we begin to fight, our voice raises. You may find yourself standing up, because when you are being triggered into the fight or flight response, what happens is that you want to protect yourself. So you very likely will be sitting down and discussing calmly what has happened. This is what you did, and I don't like that you just crossed my boundary. So that's probably the best way to react to something that happens, right? But usually people stand up or start walking really fast. We start yelling and screaming, and we can even feel the scratchiness in our throat. And sometimes people even say things they regret later, right? So this is very, very, very common. And understanding our brain can really, really help us find a way to work with these triggers. I want to talk about how what really happens is that there's a shutdown of the pathways in the prefrontal cortex, right? When the amygdala is being hijacked. And which is really, the prefrontal cortex is a center of consciousness. It's a center of clarity in making decisions, right? It's also a place where we can think not just from the me point of view, but also be more empathetic and think about others, connect with others, and think in multiple perspectives, right? But when the amygdala is triggered, cortisol, adrenaline goes into the bloodstream. There's an absolute disconnect from that prefrontal cortex. So you're thinking in a very self-oriented way. I'm right, you're wrong, kind of thing, right? Or I am under threat. I must protect myself because you are doing this to me, or they're doing this, something along those lines, right? I'm right, you're wrong. And how do we really fight that? How do we overcome that? Of course, mindfulness. Those of us who meditate regularly may have a better way to recognize the trigger, right? When we don't meditate regularly, I don't have that regular practice, it may be a little bit difficult, but I will teach you the technique today, which can be used to become absolutely, almost radically aware of what's happening, right? So we'll talk about the technique, but first, if you guys want to share and tell me about triggers, are there any specific triggers? I'll share some of my triggers with you as well. So what would be the trigger that would take you out of balance, or make you upset or angry, or get you into that amygdala attack sort of space, and where you want to fight or withdraw? Can you think of any triggers? It's your boss, maybe it's your partner, maybe it's your mother, or somebody says something, or maybe something on television, something's going on in the news, or maybe, I don't know, politics. So what can take you off your balance, right? So politics for sure, says Sarah. Small housework tasks being left undone, right? Then have to do. Small housework tasks being left undone. And that's being undone by you, housekeeper, kids. And Jacqueline says feeling misunderstood by kids mostly. Okay, so by kids mostly. Okay, and so I'll talk. I'll get to Jack in a moment. Let me just continue with Sarah for a bit. So by my kids mostly, right? So the housework undone by my kids mostly. So when you see things undone in the house, what goes through your head? What are you thinking? I'm being disrespected, or I'm being unheard? What is really going through your head? Almost like what I do isn't valued. Oh, I see. So right, yeah. So you're not being valued for your work, for what you're doing for the house, right? You're not valued. And when you're not valued, how do you feel? What is really happening? I don't feel valued. Therefore, I wasn't raised in a way that housework was really valued. It happened on the side. Okay. What do you mean by happened on the side? I'm a little bit not sure about this sentence here. And yeah, so the housework wasn't valued. It happened on the side. And that's that sense of not being valued, right? It really ties a lot to things like I'm not seen, or for me, my trigger was being belittled, right? Belittled. So they're all in a very similar kind of line, right? Not being valued, not being seen, almost there's that sense of isolation, be feeling small. Okay, so let me come back to Jacqueline. Feeling misunderstood, feeling disrespected, feeling helpless could happen with both strangers and family. This is it. You see, misunderstood and feeling disrespected, right? Again, it's that not being seen, misunderstood, disrespected, helpless. Wow, strangers and family. So that can be a very sad feeling, right? And why? I'm not going to ask too many questions because, well, what is it that they do that makes you feel disrespected? Is it a conversation, specific conversation? Is it a word they use, or a judgment? Yes, can be sad, but mostly frustration. So is this some sort of judgment? Is it a label? Is it dismissal? Someone treats me as if I am invisible. Aha. Okay. Interesting. See, and that can trigger you, right? I think it can trigger you into that state of being angry and frustrated, and maybe we can start lashing out, right? Thank you so much for sharing. And so, and Sarah, I know I asked a question. You don't have to think through it right now. Just allow yourself to, whatever comes, right? Whatever insight comes. I was curious about if there's any therefore. I'm not valued, therefore I am. If there's anything that you're articulating within yourself, you can just think about that and make a note. So, and this can be just that. It can be just a random trigger, a family, a stranger. Sometimes it can be an old story that needs to be resolved, and it's something that we can pay attention to and really work out, right? Other times it's just a random trigger, or something that keeps repeating, and we want to find a way to speak up, right? Speaking up is really important. It's how do we speak. So I'm glad we guys are talking here, because I really sense that this is a matter of talking and speaking your ground and communicating in the way that you are being heard, For Jacqueline, that you are being understood, right? That your perspective has been heard. For Sarah, that your kids are seeing you, right? Because if we yell or scream, raise our voice, then oftentimes we can be seeing even annoying to others, right? Annoying. Oh, she's doing this again. Ugh. Just like, I want to block you, right? That can happen, right? When we are not in our space of power. So when the trigger happens, what we want to do is four things. Number one, you want to acknowledge that you're being provoked. Okay. You want to feel that trigger. Okay. Let's not go into acting, reacting just yet, but just take a moment of, all right, here it is. I just been triggered and I'm feeling angry, for example, right? I'm feeling it bubbling up. It's right there in my chest. You can even look at yourself in the mirror if you have a mirror. And as you pass by, I look really angry. My face is really, looking a little sulk or something. My eyebrows are looking different. So really acknowledge the bodily sensation. It can be 30 seconds, okay? Not more. Feeling this in my chest. I'm just coming, there it is. I'm becoming curious of it, right? So aware and curious of the bodily sensation. The second thing, and we're going to practice that today together. The second thing you can do really quickly is really become of that story. He's disrespecting me, or they're totally not understanding me, right? Or they're so disrespectful. They're just not acknowledging. They don't see me, right? So it's often that they are doing something. So, and sometimes it's hard to articulate that, but really deep inside, we may be thinking something else. I'm so small right now, or I'm so belittled, or something like that, right? Well, what is wrong with me? Why are they doing this? What is really wrong with me? Why do I fail like that? Like, well, why can't I? Yes, I will repeat number two. Why do I fail like that, right? So number one, we are becoming aware of our body. That's number one. Number two, we become aware of our mind. It's very simple. First body, second mind. Bodily sensations, feeling this in my shoulder or my chest. It's like something is coming out, like steam is coming out of me right now. So just describe that to yourself. And then you go into your head. And what am I thinking? Oh yeah, they're just like they're doing it on purpose, or they're mean, or there's whatever it is. And I'm not worthy, or maybe I'm not enough. I'm an idiot. So what do you really think? What story do you have in your head in that moment, right? And it is important to really, truly find and acknowledge that story, right? Sometimes we believe that story so hard that it's so hard to pull out of it. So it's not true. That story isn't true. If there's something negative you think and believe about yourself, it's not true. It's simply not true. So you're going to drop that story. You're going to drop even the story that maybe they are doing it on purpose to make you feel angry and small. Whatever it is, right? They're just being, they don't know better. And there's a way to speak to them. Usually it is people that trigger us, right? There's a way to speak to them so that they can respect your boundary. Right? So there was a way to articulate yourself where they can hear you. It's almost being hypnotic, right? So we're not going to be like, why are you doing this to me? You can't do this anymore. I stop this. Imagine if I was hypnotizing somebody like that in the session, right? People will be like, oh, excuse me, what are you talking about? So we find a different voice, a more calm, resolved voice with kindness, not anger, right? Imagine if I was hypnotizing people with anger and frustration, that wouldn't go well. So you do that with kindness. Think of somebody you know. I usually think of like Oprah has that power, right? The way to speak. She has a way to really connect and speak, and it's just so empowering, right? Um, think of anybody else who's got that power. Maybe famous people, or maybe it's people you know in your life. Um, I have some other mentors in my life, like Char Tosi, with whom I did a recent podcast. She's the founder of Woman Within, which is a really amazing organization. She also has a very calm way to speak. So we can model that, and we're going to be doing some modeling in our following sessions, modeling those people, right? So you can just start thinking about these people that you admire who have that ability to speak. So our job is to speak from a place of empowerment when we're being triggered. But we must first become aware of what's going on in the body, in the mind. There's a third and fourth step to really secure your inner power, ladies. And that is, you're going to pull your focus outward. Okay. Number 3, meaning I'm wearing a black dress. So you quickly notice what's happening in the environment, right? Just 10 seconds. If you're being triggered into stage fright when you are, or social anxiety when you're talking to someone, they're wearing a white shirt with a little flower, or the ceiling is white, off white. So you can pull yourself outward and just pay attention to the outside. Okay, my son is wearing a blue shirt, because when we are triggered, we're not seeing the outside world, right? Well, we are in our head. I am being disrespected. They're doing this to me. Okay, I'm yelling right now. It's me. I am being disrespected. My core is being put down, maybe even, like, yeah, right? It's almost as if you're being put down, right? I am not being seen. I am invisible, right? I'm not being recognized. So this can be an extreme, right? When you're being triggered, you go into the extreme of these feelings. You want to expand, all right? You want to, we talked about last time, the power of surrender and connection. And you want to speak from that place. This is where change can happen. This is where we can cause amazing, powerful change on the outside. So how do you speak with someone who's not respecting you, right? If your boundaries are being pushed, you can say, stop. You just crossed my boundary, right? You just pushed my limit. What else would you say? What else could you say differently, right? Let's think about it. What can we say? What could I say if I had 2 grown-up kids that were creating a mess, right? I'm cleaning up. I am doing the housework, and I feel that they're just not valuing me, right? It's all messy in the house, and I just keep cleaning up to them. So maybe what I would do, right? We need to have a conversation. We need to talk. We need to have a conversation. There's an important value that I have, and I'd like us to work together. Let's work together. Let's be partners. This is what adult life is about. Working with other people. So we need to find a way to work together. So let's see how we can do this. Okay, so the dynamic is so important. We need to talk about how do we get our needs met and work together on these important things, even if it's just housework. Exactly. Right, work together. How do we work together? How do we, let's find a way to work together, because you want to pull out from that dynamic, right? I'm constantly, I don't know the extent of the situation, but just giving an example, right? The dynamic where let's say you're constantly cleaning after someone, and the person just knows, oh, she will clean it up anyway. She'll do this. I'll throw this here, throw it here, and then she'll clean up anyway. She'll probably yell, but whatever, So they know this is happening. So what can you do, right? How can you speak your truth and communicate and break that dynamic, right? So maybe your role can change. Your role, instead of you know going after them and fixing things, and then complaining your concern and being frustrated, right? There's a way to change that dynamic, that role. So let's think about what kind of role you can take, right? And from a more empowered position. We're going to go into the empowerment in our meditation to help you draw that new way of thinking. Okay, first, when we're being triggered, we become aware of our body. Second, we become aware of the story we're telling ourselves, and we're dropping it. We're dropping it. Three, we're pulling our focus outward, and we're seeing what we're seeing, right? We're not reacting, just seeing, okay, this is here, it's there. We're not saying anything. And number four, the most important part, is rhythmic breathing, soothing rhythmic breath. That's it. That alone can lower the cortisol and adrenaline in your body, and it can connect you with more rational thinking. More empathetic, rational decision making can happen in that very moment. Complex decision making, if you will. And the soothing rhythmic breath means that you're going to need to count. Let's say it's on the count of 5 or 6. I usually use 6. So it's I just did it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, there may be a pool, right? When you're breathing like this, but you did this to me, or, it can just really happen. You just need to react right away. I can't believe you did. Just we continue. Okay, I'm feeling this right here in the body. Okay, I'm thinking, I'm just respect. I can't believe they did this to me. I'm okay. I'm here in this is my room. I'm at my home, right? Pulling your focus outward, and you're breathing. All of this can happen in just that 1 minute, right? Just 4 steps. You must do them. And you're breathing in. You have to change the chemistry in your body. And when you do that, you'll approach a situation from a completely different viewpoint. Completely different viewpoint. You'll surprise yourself and those around you. And then those around you will begin to see, wow, she's not doing this annoying thing that she used to do. And I'm constantly provoking her, right? The other person may be provoking unconsciously almost, right? She's more resourceful. I need to keep up with her. This is what usually happens. She's done something. She's so calm. What's so different about her? She's not yelling. She's not screaming. What's going on? Right? The other person could be thinking that something is different. So you're in a much more resourceful state, and it needs to become consistent, right? So you got their attention. Your job is to really get their attention, right? This is what influence and hypnosis is about, right? The attention. When we have someone attention, we can communicate and they will hear us. And to get someone to pay attention and see you, you have to be in that very resourceful, empowered space, right? You don't want people to look away from you or want to run away from you because you're maybe not pleasant to be around, right? When you're triggered. So we're doing the opposite here, and this technique can really, really, really help you, ladies. And I invite you to start practicing it. And I invite you to, as you practice it, you'll be quite surprised and amazed to see how there may be a different action born, different way of behaving. So Jacqueline, for instance, for you, when you feel like you're being misunderstood, So it may be that someone is either ignoring you, right? So I don't know the extent of this, but usually when we say I'm misunderstood, two things could be happening is that someone is being either ignorant, arrogant, and not seeing you, not acknowledging you, right? That just in their own space, they're speaking for what they want to speak about. And that can be triggering, right? The other thing is there must be a way to communicate, right? Maybe it's a simpler way to communicate what you need to communicate. And that's also a skill to be able to communicate to others, right? It looks like the goal here is to be understood, to be seen. So you want to be able to articulate. So you need to find a way to articulate it to yourself. What is it that you want to communicate that they're not hearing or seeing, right? Is it something about the house? Is it something about family relations? Maybe it's two, three simple things that you want to say, right? This is what you're doing. This is what I see you do consistently. And it makes me feel that, right? It's really a rational way of speaking. And it's usually very simple. This is what I see you do, right? Instead of, obviously, we're not making a judgment and saying you always do this, or you're we're staying away from labels, right? But we can't say I feel dismissed, or I feel unseen, or I feel hurt. This the behavior that I am seeing from you. I see that you're yelling right now. I see that you're frustrated, or you're acting as this way, and this is evident to me. So you can describe what you're seeing, right? Without speaking how they're thinking, or what they're believing, right? Or what their intention could be, but we don't know what their intention is. So, but I see and observe you doing such and such thing, and this is how I feel. How can we change that? How do we change that? Okay. So we need to find a way to articulate ourselves, and this sense of articulation comes from a very resourceful place. Let's go ahead. We're going to start with our meditation to help us go into that place of resourcefulness. And let's begin right now. So ladies, go ahead and find a place. Sit down comfortably. I'm sure you're sitting already. I know, Jacqueline, you're right now in a place where you may not be comfortable, but go ahead and take a lotus position. You can even lay down. It's okay too. So let's begin. Eyes closed. Go ahead and move your attention into your body. Observe your body right now. Notice how your body feels. Is there any tightness in the body? If your feet are on the floor, notice the sensation. Notice where your arms are and how your hands feel, and the temperature of the air and on the surface of your skin. Become aware of your digestive system. And your blood as it moves through your body. And your breath. Inhaling, exhaling. As you continue to observe your body, move your attention into your brain, your mind, and notice if there are any thoughts, if any. And allow yourself a easy state of thoughtlessness. Now, with your eyes closed, think of your space where you're in and visualize it. Remember what it looks like. Now, slowly and gently move your attention into your breath. And slowly count to 6 each time you inhale and to 6 again every time you exhale. Rhythmic pace. This hypnotherapeutic meditation is helping you find more resourcefulness within yourself to help you connect with that strong sense of inner power, to help you learn how to manage your emotions, especially when you are being triggered by some external stimuli. Some could be old stimulations, can be new. And when we are being triggered, we tend to experience a sense of threat. Now, it may not be that old prehistoric threat. Someone's attacking me and I need to run away, like the animal is attacking me or something. They can be a threat on your identity, your sense of self, who you are, your value systems, your self-esteem. And often people report that their sense of self is being threatened. They don't want to feel small or belittled or invisible, disrespected. It's not a comfortable feeling. And whenever you are being triggered, you'll find it easy to pull away from the emotions and allow yourself to get into the powerful place of resourcefulness. So I invite you to think of the last time you were triggered by something or someone. And let's go back. I'll count from 5 to 1. Take yourself into that time and place. 5, 4, 3, 2, going back in time. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Here we go. Just imagine yourself in that situation. Notice what's going on, who's there, if you're inside or outside. Notice what they said, what they did, and how you're being emotionally triggered. And just allow yourself to be in your body. So you're viewing the situation from your own body. And notice what's going on in the body. Maybe it's heat rising, the uncomfortable, sharp feeling, whatever it is, describe it to yourself. Notice how you feel in that situation. We are focusing on the bodily sensation. So you're really, by describing yourself, what you're feeling in your body, you're becoming aware of it. And through awareness, you can establish calmness. I'm aware of that bodily sensation. It's very important to become aware of it. That's whatever it is. What is that feeling that you don't like? Now go into your head and notice what you're thinking. Whatever the thought, whatever that is. he is doing this or they are doing this again, or whatever it is. Notice what is the story there? Do they really want you to feel bad? Do they really want to disrespect you? See if you can go ahead and drop that story, drop that idea. I know it's hard because this is what's going on the outside. See if you can just drop that. Maybe they're doing some of those things because they have no guidance or not knowing better, or they just don't have a proper tool or understanding of things. Just don't know. If we can drop that idea that they're doing this to me to make me feel in a certain way, like they are the enemy. See, when we're being triggered, first thing happens that we completely disconnect from the other person. We are so isolated and we see them as an enemy, as a threat. They are the enemy. They're doing this to me. Let's go ahead and find that thought. If there's that thought and story element, we're going to drop that. We're dropping it. It's not true. Your body is telling you, the amygdala is telling you, the fight or flight response is telling you, perceiving the enemy on the outside from which you need to protect or hide or defend. We're dropping it. And in that situation, go ahead and pay attention where you are quickly, what you're seeing. Walls or clothes or your shoes or the carpet, kitchen, outside, trees, whatever it is. Just quickly pay attention. You're pulling out of your thinking by becoming an observer. And breathing, and just breath, rhythmic breath, dynamic breath. Disconnecting more and more from the cascade of those chemicals released by the amygdala. Cortisol level goes down, adrenaline goes down. You feel calm, relaxed. And you're finding that place of resourcefulness within you. How will you speak from that place of complete resourcefulness? What will you do differently? That place of resourcefulness is a surprising place to you and others. It's not a place where you defend yourself. It's not a place where you need to attack. It's a different place of communicating the truth, asking for something in a very confident, resourceful way, articulating your feeling. Whatever it is that you need to communicate, but you speak calmly. No more quivering, no more shaking. Your body is calm, your voice is calm. The right tonality, almost like music, very rhythmic. If you were to play a beautiful piece of music, there would be a rhythm. You're finding that rhythm in your communication. It's not too high, it's not too low, it's not so random, it's not so all over the place. There is pace and rhythm. And it comes out beautiful. You want to pay attention to it. So allow yourself to continue to build that place of resourcefulness through awareness and practicing a simple 4-step technique. Body, mind, outside world, seeing what you're seeing, and your breath. Very simple. Body, mind, outside, and your breath. Deep sense of mindfulness and awareness is bringing you back into a very resourceful, empowered place within you. And this is how you speak. Rhythmic, dynamic, paced, seen, and heard. So now move your attention back into your body, into your arms, your legs. When you're ready, you can open up your eyes and come back right here, right now. And welcome back. So I encourage you to practice this technique whenever you are triggered again, when triggers happen for all of us, and find where it takes you, right? In what place it takes you in your mind, body, and what do you mean coming from a resourceful place? A resourceful place, it's a place of inner resources, right? It's a place of an inner resource of confidence. It's a good question, Jacqueline. A resourceful place, a place of power, confidence, right? As opposed to lacking those inner resources, right? I'm unable, I'm incapable, or I don't have the energy, and I'm asking and demanding, and you're so, there's almost a sense of weakness, right? But a resourceful place can be a place of connected to something divine, right? Powerful. There is a place of source, right? Does it make sense, Jacqueline? Is it a little bit more clear? Oh, good. Yeah, good. I'm glad you asked. So here we go. This is what we are finding within ourselves, that well, if you will, the well of confidence, well of power. And it's magnetic, right? When you read a book, you want to read an interesting book. Usually for me, it's some sort of nonfiction, right? It draws me. It's so hypnotic. It's so engulfing, right? It got my attention because it's interesting. It's paced. It's teaching me something. This is what we want to be, right? We want to be that resource for someone, that well for someone, right? You will want to speak from that place that people want to pay attention to instead of look away. Yeah, with your family members, anyone really, colleagues, your boss, but often it's with family members, right? There's an interesting, unique situation that is happening in my family in Russia where I know that I'm going to find a way. It's a new situation that I'm going to have to find a way to speak about. And it's a little scary because it's new. But when I ask myself, what am I really scared of? What am I really scared of? I'm scared of somebody getting angry. I'm scared of somebody being dismissive. But then I tell myself, just speak from that place of empowerment, kindness, empowerment, love, guidance, pace. And what's important is that not to get triggered, because if I get triggered, then nobody will hear me, right? So even if someone's acting in a way that you don't like, you stay in the resourceful place, in that state of calm. Observe yourself. Use those 4 steps. Stay calm. The other trigger, the other person, situation will begin to change because you're changing the dynamic, right? You're not going after and they pull away. No, you're staying right here, calm, relaxed, resourceful, and they look at you. They pay attention, and you are being magnetic. And then you speak beautifully. You speak the truth, kind truth. All right. Well, we're done for today. I really enjoyed working with you ladies. And thank you for letting me record this for other people that were not able to join today. You're most welcome. I will see you next Friday. Remember to make your reservation. And if you have any questions in between these sessions, please reach out to me. Have a beautiful day out there. Bye-bye. Absolutely.